Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, dwyervip.com. Today is February the 23rd, 2017, right? You want to judge this video by the information available as of the date the video was made. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Let's talk Vladimir Klitschko, Anthony Joshua. There's a way to work the casino here based on the odds. In other words, you don't want to pay for odds you don't need, right? You only want to pay for relevant odds. Now, let me just have a full disclosure here. I actually like the underdog in this fight. I like Vladimir Klitschko. I believe the best play on the board is Vladimir Klitschko at a plus 185, right? The odds right now have Vladimir Klitschko at a plus 185, Anthony Joshua at a minus 250. The over-under on the fight is 8.5 rounds. This video is really intended for the people who want to bet on Anthony Joshua, right? I want you to get an edge on the casino as well. Now, even though I disagree with you, just understand, there's no reason to pay for Anthony Joshua at minus 250, right? When you can bet the under 8.5 rounds at significantly better odds, a minus 115. In other words, you're getting better than twice the odds taking the under 8.5 rounds. Now, let's be real here. Why are the under 8.5 rounds comparable to Anthony Joshua simply to win the fight at minus 250? It's because Anthony Joshua has never made it to the halfway mark of the 9th round in any of his professional fights. Right? He's never gone over an 8.5, folks. Never. Right? His first time in doing so is not going to be against Vladimir Klitschko. Understand, if this fight goes over 8.5 rounds and gets into a range where only Klitschko has been, I would argue that Anthony Joshua has no chance of winning it, right? His best chance is the under 8.5 rounds. If you're an Anthony Joshua supporter, I believe the scenario you have in your head of him winning this fight before 90,000 Englishmen, his country, has him coming out and displaying punching power that Vladimir Klitschko is unprepared for, catching Vladimir Klitschko, weakening Vladimir Klitschko, and then stopping Vladimir Klitschko. Because I think we all understand that if this is a slow fight, this is a fight with jabs and, defense and movement. If it makes it to the halfway point of the 9th round, Anthony Joshua is simply not going to have the stamina or the experience to keep up with Vladimir Klitschko. Right? So, to those of you who want to support Anthony Joshua, who feel that that's the bet, all I'm saying is you can more than double your rate of return, right? If you think about, instead of Joshua at minus 250, taking the under 8.5 rounds at a minus 115. Let me go one step further. Let's say you're wrong. Let's say fighting Dylan White and Dominique Brazil and Eric Molina doesn't fully prepare you for fighting Vladimir Klitschko. Let's say Klitschko comes in the ring and actually has a superior jab, the superior technique, the superior temperament, the superior skill set. Right? Let's say Joshua keeps waiting to throw a counter right hand and that opportunity doesn't present itself for several rounds. Let's say Joshua gets dissected and dropped within the first 8.5 rounds of the fight. Isn't that what happened to Kubrat Pulev? Isn't that what happened in the rematch of the Tony Thompson fight? Let's say Vladimir Klitschko, who has a prodigious KO percentage, ends this fight within the first 8.5 rounds. Guess what? To the Joshua people who, instead of taking Joshua at a plus 250 simply to win, instead took the under 8.5 just to increase their odds of winning, because they realized Joshua's best chance of winning the fight is in the first 8.5 rounds. Guess what? If Vladimir Klitschko closes the show in the first 8.5, you could be dead wrong on this fight and still have a winning ticket in your pocket after it. That pays off, by the way, at better odds than the minus 250 you were originally going to take on Joshua simply to win the fight. In other words, your guy didn't even win the fight. The other guy wins the fight. And you're still getting paid on an under 8.5 round ticket at a minus 115. Right? So to sum up, if this fight goes over, I think the guy with the experience in the championship rounds wins the fight. That's Vladimir Klitschko. Right? The AJ narrative, the blueprint of him coming out and destroying a guy early, right, would have fallen apart if this fight makes it to the halfway point of the 9th round. So if you believe in Joshua, and if you believe he's going to do it by KO, as he's always done it, right, within the first 8.5 rounds, I want you to strongly consider the under 8.5 rounds at a minus 115. If I'm a Joshua bettor, in my opinion, that's the best bet on the board, right? Under 8.5, I don't even have to be right on the victor if the fight ends before the midway point of the 9th round. I don't even have to be right on the victor, right? I'll be in line to collect whether or not Joshua connects or Vladimir Klitschko. Anyway, those are my tips to bettors. As I've said, I personally believe this is Vladimir Klitschko all day. I like the plus 185, right? If I wanted to hedge in a Joshua possibility based on current odds, I would hedge Vladimir Klitschko plus 185 with the under 8.5 rounds. My logic being, if Vladimir Klitschko then closes the show in under 8.5 rounds, I win both halves of the bet. If Vladimir comes out and gets caught by this young lion, as everyone seems to have been, right, then I'm hedged, right? Because then I would win on the under 8.5, but I would lose on the Vladimir Klitschko plus 185. So that's how I see it if I'm a Joshua bettor. Rather than take Joshua at minus 250 over Vladimir Klitschko, and again, I keep saying to people, what heavyweight out there is worth a minus 250 over Vladimir Klitschko? From this view, from this side of the street, none. Right? Certainly not some guy who's never even gone 9.5 rounds. Right? But, be that as it may, if I think it's a new day and this time it's different, right? Even if I'm into Joshua, I would have to say to myself, look, for Joshua to win this fight, he's going to have to do it like he's won every other fight. Right? That would be inside of 8.5 rounds. I'd rather get a minus 115 than a minus 250. Anyway, that's how I see it. Let me hear from you. I hope you leave your comments in the comment section to this video. Thanks for stopping by.